Thank you, Mr. President. To the bill.
The bill.
Mr. President, I was going to ask the carrier some questions. For example, how would this program accommodate our transportation vehicles when the engine warranties only allow for 5% blend? How much will the increased fuel cost impact our communities? And several other questions like that. But because there really are no answers to those, because this is a bill that we're going to find out all this stuff later, I chose not to ask those questions. Mr. President, permission to read from printed material. Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I'm going to read some excerpts from the Oregonian editorial board of January 29th of this year. What was always misguided policy driven by chronic misrepresentation from the governor's office on down now carries a depressingly familiar stink. Yet a chance still exists that Oregon's elected representatives will support it. We're going to find that out shortly. In any case, the organization funneling money to Hayes certainly wanted some things included, wrote Borund, implementation of Oregon's low carbon fuel standards, for which it conducted polling and advocated for in 2014. While running for his fourth term last year, Governor John Kitzhaber identified the program's implementation as one of his top 3 priorities. The fuel standard is opaque and costly. It is a roundabout way of taxing gasoline and diesel fuel to subsidize alternative road fuels. Most Oregonians would never know they were paying it, even as they coughed up an extra $1 or $2 every time they filled their tanks. Opacity is rarely a good public policy. Opacity sold by half-truths is a cause for alarm. But Kitzhaber's former communication director was told, she says, quote, that as long as things were good, it did not matter whether things were right. Think about that. This is for global warming. Excuse me, the data is clear. If we stopped all human activity in this state, the impact on global climate would not even be measurable. That is a fact. We're not going to save the planet. Alternative fuels, none of them are even marketable without government subsidies. So we're paying twice and 3 times for these things. But Mr. President, what bothers me the most about this is that we know what is going to happen if this measure passes both chambers of the legislature. There's going to be a referral. Not on this, because you put a sunset on it that will prevent that from happening. But what bill will be referred is the transportation package we are all working diligently on. So here's our choice, colleagues. We can pass this thing, which shovels tax dollars out of middle-class Oregonians through increased gas taxes to out-of-state corporations, which this will do, or we can keep this in place, not pass this, and pass a transportation package, which will also call for a gas tax increase. But guess what? That money will go to roads and bridges. It'll go to the real needs in Oregon. This bill will not. This is a Ponzi scheme, my friends. It's time to get real. We have demonstrated needs in this state for our roads and bridges. Some of them are in incredibly poor shape. We should not sacrifice what Oregonians truly need, which is a good transportation package, for the myth that this bill is.
Checker.